Okay. Hi, everybody. I know a lot of you, most of you actually, certainly by most by name and even all by sight. I'm Randy Levinson. I'm the director of motion picture, director of MPT. This is Jana Memel, who you know, who will from time to time be chiming in. And this is Leah Garcia, who many of you know. She's in charge of any
Everything.
sounds, yeah, everything pretty much, but in particular, every sound stage request you may have, you're going to go through her. And again, everything else that'll continually I'll say during this little talk here. So what are we doing here? I'm going to help you navigate, understand how to find an internship, how to, define what you really want to be doing and what you don't want to be doing, where you might want to be doing it. Unfortunately at the moment, Academy of Art University doesn't actually have internships where we can guarantee you will be placed, but many of our students do really well, and certainly you're as competitive as anybody else regarding internships. And we'll go through a bunch of different websites. So I want to actually start out by kind of finding out a little bit about you in terms of what you're looking for, what you imagine your perfect internship would be, and what you would settle for. If you didn't get your perfect internship, what would an internship look like? Okay, and what you know about looking for internships. So we can do this really quickly. If you can just give your name and maybe what you're majoring in, if you're at that stage yet. Duke, you want to start?
Okay. Hi everyone. My name is Duke, and a directing student. Right now, I'm looking for the internship like the script supervisor or the coverage or even the behind the scene.
Okay, what was the first one you said, Duke?
Script supervisor.
Script supervisor. Next one.
Coverage. Coverage stuff. For the
Uh-huh. And then behind the scenes.
yes.
Script coverage. Okay, so what Duke had said is ideally he would like to do any one of these three things, be a script supervisor in a film, of a film that's being shot anywhere. Okay, and then doing script coverage. Some of you may not be familiar with that, is that many production companies, producers, even agents, they hire, they have so much material, so many scripts that are coming in books that want to have them be involved perhaps, or that they want to be involved in, that they shortcut the system, at least to begin with, by paying for people to read the scripts or the book and do coverage on it, which is a separate topic, but basically it's a shorthand describing what the story, doing a synopsis in 1 or 2 pages describing what the movie is about, sort of scene by scene or important scene by important scene, what the log line is, what their comments are, and it's a very valuable job for people and a great entry-level position. So, for example, I had an internship at a company called New World Pictures after Roger Corman had sold it. I parlayed that job from being sort of a schlepper doing just absolutely the worst thing in the world, imagine my life is over, to doing story coverage, to by the end of the sixth week of my 8-week internship, I had gotten paid to be a junior production executive. So more about that later. And then behind the scenes, camera work, shooting, B-roll, interviews with the actors, the crew, locations, whatever.
Hi guys, I'm Santiago. Directing major, I'm looking for the same thing like you.
Okay, Vince?
Yes, hi guys, I'm Vincent. I'm in directing major, and I'm looking for, actually I'm not sure what kind of internship directing major can do, but I'm interested in music video production and also filmmaking, and maybe I will try to start with assistant director or something.
Okay. I'm sorry, what's your name again?
Destiny.
Destiny. Okay, so Vince said he was in. Santiago is interested in the same thing as Duke. Destiny is Vincent is interested in music video production of some kind, or in film production, possibly as a first AD. And Destiny, what do you?
Everything
Everything. Okay, great. What's your name?
I'm Robert.
Robert.
I'm a cinematography student, and I'm interested in internships in camera work and film production.
Okay. Robert wants to do cinematographer, interested in camera work and film production. Amin.
Hello, and I think I'm a directing major, and more lately can Santiago with supervisors.
Okay, great. What's your name? Subin. Okay.
My major is editing, and I'm looking for video editing internship for autistic spectrum.
Okay. So we have video editing, and what was the other one? It was assistant director. Okay. Oh, assistant editor. Okay.
TJ, look for internships in also video editing and cinematography. If anything hands-on,
Okay.
always morning.
All right. So that's up there. What's your name again?
Ben.
Ben, that's
I'm a
right.
writing major, and I'm not sure what I want to do.
Okay.
Internship.
Okay. Are you? What year are you in? Your second year?
I'm not sure on my part.
Oh, your first year. Okay. Ro. Uh huh.
I would like to try to intern. I may have an internship, but I'm still kind of working along the lines of helping the people like directing or hopefully know exactly what I'm doing at for whenever I'm, on my own. I can actually talk to you and do all things.
Okay. So Alicia is interested in sort of being like the right hand person to the producer. Okay. Assistant to producer. Okay. Morgan, what do you?
I
Talk-
continue writing. I'm doing an internship right now doing script coverage with Blue Creek Pictures. I did real fiction. I'm doing mostly script coverage, but a couple times he just wanted me to give him like an analysis of the script and give him like possible fixes, development fixes.
So those would be scripts that he's developing right now
Yeah.
in development with his company.
Yeah, and I really like doing that. Doing actual coverage is a pain in the butt, 'cause it's writing the synopsis is so tedious. But the analysis and like coming up with possible fixes is a lot of fun, and I'd like to do that. I'd like to get another internship doing more of that kind of stuff or something more in that direction.
So is your internship now finite? It ends. It started and it's going to end at a certain point.
Started in October, and I don't think it's ever gonna end.
Oh, well, that's actually a good thing. The longer you can have it, the better that looks as you move on. You can start honing your skills, and you never know if more can come from this. We can talk about that a little bit later. Unique.
Everyone is I'm the teaching major, producing. What I'm looking for in an internship is script coverage, they call it programming, analysis, also creative content, developing creative content, and kind of like talent scouting, because when you create new content, what sort of audience and target audience do you want to approach, and also who the star might be, finding new talent.
Okay. So talent scout, lots of things there, programming. Morgan has had the opportunity not only to do coverage, but also actually to be giving notes on a script, which is a really good thing because scripts need to be constantly developed and redeveloped. And if they like your notes, you could suddenly find your way in as an executive in the company. Before we go there,
Leonor Santos.
Leonor?
Yes, Leonor.
Leonor. Okay. What kind of what kind of internship would you imagine you would like to have?
Directing, producing, and writing.
So it's something where you get to do any of that in the summer. Okay. All right. Albert?
My name's Albert, cinematography major. I'm interested in internship in either like camera department or like a mentorship, apprenticeship under a director of photography.
Okay. Trying to be getting to be an apprentice under somebody who's a working professional in cinematography. And I'm sorry, I don't know your name. What's your name? Andres? Okay. Okay. So look at all this. There are, whatever there are here, 20-something people, whatever.
Are we done?
No.
Did we get everybody?
Yeah. Oh, no. Did we get the any online people so far?
There is a screenwriting MFA student named Ben. He's also practicing animation skills and is not sure on what companies to apply to.
Okay. Well, we'll get into we can let him. Ben, we'll tell you that. We'll get into that shortly. Do you want to say something?
So I just want to ask, those of you who do not speak English as a first language, and you want to do
Coverage.
script coverage, are you great at writing English? Like, as good as somebody who comes out of an American university speaking and writing American English?
No.
Then what would make you think an American company would hire you to do script coverage?
Because I know Chinese.
So then would you be doing, so that's a very valuable thing you just said, Duke.
Yeah.
So are you then, but that talks about a kind of company you're looking to work with, because you would be looking to work with a company who was getting scripts from China. And actually, mostly it goes the other way.
That's right.
So you're thinking backwards. In other words, mostly what we're trying to do is take your money. So you have to be realistic. The only way it would work is if you were to, and maybe there is something you could propose where you partner with somebody who would do English script coverage that you would translate. Because nobody's going to hire you to do English script coverage. But you just came up with what you need for an internship, which is a creative way of spinning your talents.
So we did have a student, MFA student who graduated. So are you mic'd?
Yes.
Oh, okay, sorry. So there's a student who did get a job working with, she's Chinese, and she got a job in Los Angeles. She graduated, so it's a job, working, reading scripts and doing a variety of things, including coverage, but reading Chinese scripts, and I don't know where the, I don't necessarily think that the idea is that they're going to be made for an American audience, but the company is located both in China and in Los Angeles. So there is a possibility that you could approach it that way.
But see, that was very creative, because for all of you, when you're looking at how to look for a job, what can you use as a spin? A creative way to cast yourself that's different than other people. Now, for all of you who want an internship as script supervisor, how are you going to convince me you can do script supervising? Pardon?
Yeah. See?
No, that's not script supervising. In other words, again, if I'm hiring you on a real film as a script supervisor, I better know you have done 10 or 15 films, and I'm going to ask to see your line script. So again, if you don't have the stuff to show me and convince me you've done the job before, it's hard for me to hire you. And done it more than once before and done it really well. So that's something to think about with your goals. And it's something to really think about with your time in this school, because it's like, well, what could you do if this is where you want to go, and especially if this is where you want to go for OPT, what could you do to spend this semester making yourself viable for those kinds of jobs? How could you script supervise 7 thesis films, study script supervising before you do it, and then have these lined scripts that you could take with all your credits to show somebody.
That would give people a lot of confidence, be able to do that. So that would be a strategy that you would take, whether that would be for the summer or not. You know, it's up to you in terms of if that's really where you want the primary focus. So here's the deal with internships. There are a few that are fantastic, right? But they are very competitive to get. So most of the internships, at least in the beginning, you go into a place, they don't know you, you don't know them. There's likely to be a lot of sort of administrative work. I'm putting production aside for the moment, production kind of jobs. Administrative work, you know, getting people coffee, answering the phone, being the first in and last out, and doing whatever the sort of drudgery that needs to be done in this company. But doing it with a kind of a smile on your face. I'm giving myself as the example. Inside I was like, you know, felt like I was going to hell, but I knew that I had to turn this around. And so I was always, you know, saying, anything else that I can do, let me know. And one of those times somebody said, yeah, could you make up a cast list for the movie that we're going to be going into pre-production, we're going to start making offers. And that resulted in another one. And then like, you know, doing script notes, but sitting in on the meetings. And that's how that happened. But it happened because I didn't walk into that place and realize after 3 days, oh, you know, this is not how I envisioned what an internship looks like. Because the other thing about it is you're also trying to build your resume. So this is just the beginning, for many of you anyway, of something that now you've had an internship, now you've worked in a production company, so now when you're actually looking for a job, this can count. No, it's not really a job, but it's something more than going to school. Okay, so just what I'm trying to suggest to you is you're going to have to probably loosen up a little bit about what it might look like, because it could turn into something great. And that isn't to say that there aren't some really wonderful internships. A student last year got an internship at, where did Palmer get his internship? Paramount.
No, it was a comic book company.
So it was a comic book company that was active. So he got to sort of, I think, be involved in very low level, sort of in the marketing end. So at least he got to hear and listen and see what was going on, and he got paid. So let's talk about the payment for a second. So in the state of California, and perhaps in other states as well, the internship used to be kind of a thing where, you know, it allowed companies not to pay you. But now they are enforcing that you are being paid. But if you get, the way around that is to get course credit, and then these companies that may not want to pay you will want to want to work with you rather. Does everybody get that? So you have to see, and then the other thing is that for foreign students often you can't get paid because you're not here on a working visa. So that's where you could then get a internship that involves course credit, or some of these smaller companies, not a place like NBC Universal, will, you know, pay you and not necessarily worry about it. Just everybody be quiet, hush hush, that kind of thing. All right. So let us. So what? Anybody have any ideas about how to go about looking for an internship? Okay, if you don't, I'm just thinking. Well, Unique, you do because you did. So what was your experience? You have an internship now, right?
Inquiring, yes.
You mean it's in process?
Yes.
Okay. So how did that happen to you? Did somebody say to you, just hey, apply somewhere?
Well, I went through a company that's, so there are kind of like third-party companies, and one company that I went to is specifically for African-American minority students. So that's Asian, African-American, Hispanic, Latino, and they really are pushing for students to be in the media that are part of minorities, and they kind of put you in this talent pool and help you get internships. They also supply like workshops in different cities if you like to go to them. So I applied through there, and I also did some self-research. So I found media companies, and then I went through all the media companies on their website, and then I found specific internships that would cater towards my liking. So like I went through Viacom, I went through NBC, Universal, I went to Turner Broadcasting, so kind of the big companies that are over smaller companies, and I just went to each website and looked at their internship.
Great. So we're going to do a little bit about this tonight. The purpose of this for me, so that I don't, the purpose of this for me is you're going to get a broad overview of this. Then you can work one-on-one with me about, like, let's see, you know, how can you pursue this further. I wanted this, at least you to be aware of websites, other strategies, so that you're not coming into me completely cold. I don't know how to get an internship. At least you're going to do that, so every student will be required to do that, even if they're not here. So that's why I'm glad you are here. You've cut out this step. Okay, so Unique has mentioned one thing to consider. You can look at, there are websites that are designed specifically for the entertainment business, both getting jobs and getting internships. Let's start with the major studios. Several of them, those positions are closed for the summer, but they have stuff for the fall. They have stuff for, they're constantly ongoing. Sometimes they upload stuff where emergency situations happen. But let's just look at like one company that is open, which is NBC Universal. So the tricky thing here is you may not know what any of these job titles and functions are, so that's why I'm here, but so we can just go through how to navigate a website, a studio website. So does everybody know the names of the 6 major studios? Anybody throw out some names?
But most of these kids aren't looking for that jobs. Those jobs.
Well, there's some creative stuff. You don't want to cover any? I'll just do one.
Okay, but they're
Just-
not looking
yeah.
for this stuff.
Okay. Okay, Jana has reminded me, based on what you said, that you're not really looking for this kind of thing, but I'm going to just navigate one site, because how this site works is how many of these sites work, and we'll do one that's more film production oriented. Isn't this Blueberry?
I think so. Should be.
Okay. So here's how, when I first started, actually in terms of this, you know, I'm going to be pursuing this with students, I did something really simple. I just Googled each, major studio, and I just wrote internships. So I did NBC, Universal, spelled it out. That's one of the, actually a company that I worked at as an executive. And then I pressed internships. And then right away the first thing that comes up is NBC Universal.
This has nothing to do with these people.
What? All right, so just let me do this though once. Okay. So it lists all these categories, and we see here a film production and development. Okay. So you would check on all of this. Some of these are completely things you would not be interested in. You're not interested in accounting. You're not interested in web design, development, anything like that. So instead, you're interested in this. So here's one of the things that you're going to find for every place you apply. They're going to say things like, what are the specific qualifications and what is the ideal candidate? In this particular case, they're saying production and development internships are highly coveted and competitive positions. Our interns assist in the administrative function of films in production. A film production intern is not intimidated by the that's bad, it's a spelling mistake on a big website, by the fast-paced nature of the business, and is a passionate, bright go-getter with strong intellectual curiosity. Pretty much every internship is going to want that. Company. Previous exposure to production and or development is a big plus, but it doesn't mean that it is a requirement. So let's see what we have here. So then they list their internships, and they list them all over the country because they're conglomerate that's located in various places. So you can, well, you can't really see this, but having looked through this, a lot of these at the moment are very sports related and production related. Like you're going to be a live tournament intern for a golf for their, when they air all the golf tournaments in the United States. So what they'll do is they'll list the title, they'll list what the job is. We'll learn, the live tournament intern will learn how to work under pressure, become intimately involved in every aspect of supporting live golf events and learn, and then it keeps going on. And it tells you, when the job was posted. And since it's listed, it means that it's still available. So you can just go on here and you would look at things that you might find interesting. So there's a summer NBC Universal international play that's overseas or in Miami. So that would be one way of doing that. Okay, so all of the 6 major studios have that. And again, some of them no longer have that, but you'll just have to go look around for that. Okay, then how many people want to stay in San Francisco, Los Angeles, New York? I mean, what's the deal? Any place? So you're very flexible. So there are specific internships that are, some of them you have to pay a small fee, but most of them you don't, and I recommend at this point there's no reason to do that. So we will provide the links to you of these companies separately as part of the link, this link. But one very popular one for production jobs is called Mandy.com. MANDY.com. Let's just look at that. So again, Google is your best friend. If you're ever like confused, how do I do this? All you do is a simple Google search, film internship websites or film job websites, and up will pop, things, top 10. So here you have to be a member. I am a member. So let's see. Do I know my code? Let's just make something up.
So you don't have to be a member for like.
You can be a member. Here you're a member. What? Let's see. So this is free. You have to be a member, but you don't have to pay a fee. Okay, so forgive me, but let me just look for my.
So for you guys and you and a lot, this is a phenomenal site.
This isn't? This is?
Yes.
Yeah. We're just going to make something up right now.
Because even for weekend shoots, they have stuff that you can find.
And a lot in San Francisco, but you'll see that you can all over the world, all over the country, actually the world for this one.
No pay things kind of see paid jobs in there too.
I'm sorry, what?
On the Mandy.com, because it's like you can either pay for it.
Hey, can I use your
or
What?
Can I use your
volunteer
Google?
job
Yeah.
is. You don't have to pay for that
You know your
part.
password?
And sometimes they see
What?
paid jobs. in there.
I'm sorry, Destiny, you, capital. Just one. All right. Let's just do that.
Sorry, guys.
My fault. Here, let me use another account. Me. There we go. When you're not using your own computer. All right.
Let's talk while Randy's doing
Yeah.
that. Duke, what do you think your strongest virtue is. Like, what's the thing that's best about Duke as a worker?
I mean, I know Chinese a lot, and in the meantime, my English is not that bad, which means I also can communicate with the
Okay,
language
but that's a skill. I'm asking about a person.
person, friendly.
Friendly. Okay, Santiago?
Thoughtful.
Thoughtful.
Oh, patient. I would repeat.
Okay.
Is it nice?
Okay. I'm sorry, I forgot your name.
Lenore. I'm self-motivated.
Okay, Destiny?
I'm a nice person. I'm patient. I don't judge people. I'm kind.
Okay.
Accept everybody. I can go on. Sorry.
Flexible.
There's a good one.
Helpful.
Okay.
Go getter.
And what do you mean by that, Benjamin?
Take the initiative and see what needs to be done and do it.
Okay, Morgan?
I don't know, I'm still trying to figure it out, but
Okay, sir in the back?
I'm a hard worker.
Who's there? Critical? Say that a little bit more.
I know how to communicate what I want from others.
So you can communicate. That's critical is a negative. Just so you know. All right. Yeah.
I don't know the right word for this, but I would say homey. Meaning that it's easy for people to open up and to speak to me. So I'm kind of like homey.
Okay.
Warm.
Okay. Ro?
I would stop at no. I'm determining whatever the issue is. Big.
Okay. Subin? Huh?
Diligent.
Diligent.
Reliable.
Reliable. Okay. For those of you who think nice, friendly, warm are going to get you a job, you're wrong. Okay? Duke, you know what you do? There is nothing you won't do. Okay? There is nothing. You will go on a set, and no matter what it is, you will say, what can I do? And you will roll up your sleeves and do it. And you are always have your eyes open for where people need something done. So you're a self-starter because you're always looking for what needs being done, and there is nothing you won't do. That is amazing things about you. That's why I will always say, Duke, I need, and Duke does. He doesn't go blah, 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 blah. He just does. Okay? That's what I want to hire. I could care less how nice you are. But somebody who will do anything and doesn't need supervision, I just know I can trust you. I can say, go do this, and then I can walk away. That makes me want to hire you. Whoever said self-motivated, yes, that's a great one. Flexible, yes, but you have to be able to spin it. Go-getter and initiative, yes, but you have to be able to spin it. Communicating, yes. Row, A++, doesn't stop at no. Okay? So when I'm hiring an intern, I want somebody who I can give a job to and know it's going to get done. I want somebody who's flexible, who doesn't say, well, you hired me to do this, but now you're asking me to do this. So I want somebody who's flexible. I absolutely want somebody who doesn't stop at no. I absolutely want somebody who can communicate to anybody. So you guys have to stop thinking of yourselves as restaurant hosts and start thinking as an intern, what I want is somebody that I can trust to do. That's what I want. Somebody I can trust to do. So in a way, Ro interned for me this summer on the web series. And no matter what I want, Ro did it. And if it didn't work the way we planned when I left here, she didn't call me and say, oh, the place blah, blah, blah. She just made it happen. And so I knew that I could give Ro a job and it would get done. And that made me give her more and more and more responsible jobs because I knew I could trust her. And being really nice, oftentimes you don't get stuff done because you're so concerned about everybody should feel good and nice and it should be, but Ro will kill somebody to get something done. And that's actually what I want. I just want to know there's not going to be a problem, that this will get done. And I have seen you on a set, no matter what, you're going to do it. And you're going to find the solution. That's a remarkable quality. So when you go and you're trying to sell yourself, especially as an intern, you've got to solve my problems. And the more I know that you're willing to do anything, that you're flexible, that you're going to find an answer to a problem, that you're going to take initiative, the more I want you. So those are the things you want to be able to sell about yourself. But you can't sell by saying, because every single person I interview is going to say that. You have to come up with the story or the thing you can make me see you're going to do it.
So for example, to use you again, Ro, if there was a specific thing that looked like it was not going to happen, but you made it happen, that would be the story that you would tell. You wouldn't just say, I can make anything happen, I don't take no. You then can go on and elaborate one example, because right now it's one of those things, 10 different people listening to you say that have 10 different stories about what that looks like, but you actually have specific things you can say, which is what's really important. So even if you don't have that same kind of experience, Jan and I are big, and so is the entertainment industry, you don't necessarily lie to somebody, you spin the truth, you stretch the truth. So if it turned out, for example, you were managed for you, Morgan, you end up sitting in one production meeting, like being told to stay silent and not say a word. On a job interview, for an internship, you could say, I sat in on production notes meetings. Okay, that's not a lie. Okay, you don't want to make stuff up, because if you get caught in a big lie, reputation is everything in this business. By this business, I mean LA. Anything related to the entertainment industry, people talk. Okay, so I managed to log on here. So let's give an example of Mandy.com. All right, so here we have, I just typed in, I'm looking for film production. I said everything, actually. So let's look at the variety of things we have here, and it's quite a variety in quite a different places. So what you'll see is on the left for this is they'll list the job position. Then underneath it, they list the salary and the rate. And let's just take assistant director. Somebody said they want to be assistant director / location manager. The salary is a $1,300 flat fee for 2 to 3 days of prep and 2 days of shooting. This is actually submitted by the production company needing this. Since we're trying to accomplish a lot on each day, the shooting days will probably span 12 hours each from arrival to departure. Travel living is included in the flat rate. Location San Francisco. It's for a commercial. Okay? Then you have a bunch of TV news kinds of things, and then we can go to, so at any given moment, tomorrow this can all change. Okay? Jobs taken, people hired, new jobs coming up. So you'd want to check this on a fairly regular basis. Cinematographer, tech support specialist. Some people mention that. They are not they're not specific yet. We're going to click on it. Salary rate is $15 to $20 an hour, per hour. Location is in Burbank, California. you are obviously going to have to provide your own housing, so that's a rub for you if you don't know anybody where you can live, if you don't want to spend the money. So we click on that, and it says here for this website, you're going to be, when you join this, you're going to create a candidate profile, like who you are, okay? And you can work with me on that one-on-one, and then you're going to upload that, and then you can be given more information about this job. But for now, all we're getting is these basic descriptions. Assistant to talent managers. Unique, you mentioned about talent scouting. This is a TBD, means to be determined. Wedding cinematographer. Again, that may be the furthest thing from what any cinematographer in this room wants to do, but it may be something that for a summer is worth doing, because that may be a thing you can do on the side after you leave Academy of Art while you're trying to pursue your dream. You could, but there are people in this former alumni who did that and actually create a very burgeoning big business in that, and then managed to transition, to what they really wanted to do. In that particular case, the one person I'm thinking of, the person that was getting married was in the entertainment business. So it was an enjoyable experience, and that's how that happened. Post-production supervisor, VFX coordinator, associate editor. So this is how this, and actually most websites work, and you would be clicking on jobs. So we see right away they've offered, there's a lot of things that are a possibility. Another cool production-related site is called productionhub.com. So let me just write mandy.com. And again, this will be, I'll give you a list attached to this link. Production Hub. productionhub.com. Okay. All right. Most sites will have something like we just saw on mandy.com, just different placement. Find crew and vendors, find work. So you're in the find work, unless you have a short film that you're looking for crew and you can pay somebody, or whatever project you're doing. So here too, they have search filters. So let's go see what the categories are. The things that seem to be related here for us are, one is episodic TV reality series production, so it's production. Let's just click on that, even though nobody said it. Type, full-time, part-time contract, internship. Location, let's just say for California, apply the filter. We have 158 jobs, active jobs, but none of them match your criteria, so you now have to go again and look for something else. So let's go down to film and motion picture production. Apply the product. Okay, nothing there today. Here are some recent crew leads. Editor for short film, ASAP in New York City. Location sound recordist. Set designer for a stage play in Chicago. They're all over the country. So again, what this is having to roll up your sleeves and doing the work of going through each of these sites, because they don't always duplicate. Sometimes they do and sometimes they don't, and you have to just really be on this all the time. Is anybody on LinkedIn? Anybody know what that? Okay, so LinkedIn is a networking site. It's not particularly a job site, but if you look at this as a big plan of action, in terms of not just for this one internship, but let me start networking with people in the film business, then this is a really good place to do it. Has anybody ever looked for a job? Yes, Destiny?
Yeah, like on the LinkedIn thing, you can it's got a part where you can say what kind of work you're interested in, and then email you a list.
Yeah, but in general, it's still basically it's a great place to network, but they've expanded it for that. So yes, both things work.
Yeah, every day I get a list of jobs.
Did you get a list of jobs? Did you look at it? What did you see today?
Editors, production.
Film editors? Uh-huh. Okay, great.
Because it's like a part where you can punch in, what you want them to send you a list of what jobs are available.
So again, it acts as a job a job clearinghouse kind of thing. The people who are on LinkedIn indicate who they want, what they're looking for, and then if you're on LinkedIn, you can send them your information. Let's go to, there are also specific job things like websites, even more if you're interested in the media, which actually, is anybody interested in social media? Have any kind of experience there? Because that is a great place to be, a great arena. Tech companies are always looking at YouTube, Google. Nowadays, corporate companies are interested in building their social media sites. So while you may, you want to focus on the entertainment industry, but again, as an internship, getting an internship doing this, getting this on your resume, just builds your resume for when the time that you have to get a job. So that's all possible as well. There's a site called MediaBigBistro.com, which basically focuses mostly on the media, advertising, social media, TV and video. Let's look at there, find a job. So I'm just going to, so let's see, most of these are digital marketing associate again. So let's look at a job like that. You think, oh, I'm really good at digital work, but associate means that it's a higher level position. Yes? No, I'm not in production of it. I went to MediaBistro.com. Assistant editor, New York City, but it's an editorial position in the publishing industry. So this site is mostly for people interested in social media across the board. So again, I'll provide you with this, with a list of some links to good entertainment industry positions. Let's move away now from the internet, okay? How else could you get a job like in San Francisco? Or anywhere, actually. Let me just propose some places. The Film Commission. California Film Commission has a great, California Film Commission has it's kind of a great resource for what's going on in the state. And so let's click this, California. Film.ca.gov, California Film Commission. So let's look under production, entertainment jobs. And so they have a page listing this, including diversity job training. So if you're, a member of a ethnic minority here that's considered in the United States, you have extra alternatives that you can also look at. Inner city filmmakers provides free year-round high-quality hands-on training. So some of these aren't necessarily internships, but they also go and list some of the major internship websites. So this is a great place. Anybody ever volunteer in a film festival? Destiny, you did? Which one? Yes, the San Francisco Film Festival, not an A-list film festival, but just the next level down, has major filmmakers coming in. You could volunteer, be an intern. Now this is in April, so it's specific, but you could parlay this. You could volunteer your services, and what are the pros? The pros are you have a good chance of meeting filmmakers. How much you'll get to do with them is another question, but you may be the one who has to drive and pick them up at an airport. And what happens on the way back from an airport? You're with them one-on-one. So you might have they may be sullen, they may be nervous, they may be on the phone. or they may be also very communicative. You may be following with them throughout the time that they are in the at the festival. Another thing is, the downside would be maybe you're doing a lot of paperwork and office work. You just never know, but our students have had really good success there. In fact, one student started doing this, and now he basically is being solicited. He bops around from one film festival to another, quite big film festivals, because they want his services, okay? I don't exactly know what he does, but he basically is much more high level, but he's not being paid because he doesn't want to be stuck doing that. He's a director, but he's now putting himself, he's met directors, so a lot of this is about networking. That's another opportunity. Just going back to one that seems pretty obvious, some people have had luck, some people not so much. Craigslist. You can look for, they're looking for people often. Many times you might get ripped off a little bit, but again, I think you have to have the headspace to say the money matters less than the experience. Okay, sometimes they're really good. I will be honest, sometimes in the Southern California, where I live in Los Angeles, production may involve things like being a crew member on a porn shoot. So, but I had worked with a director years and years ago who, when I asked him how he got started in the business, he was very open. I was a cinematographer for porn. And so, but he said it was, after a week you don't even think about it, but I really honed my skills. So I'm not saying you should be doing that. I'm saying it just was not something he ever was thinking about doing. So that's another thing. In San Francisco, anybody have any ideas how would you finding about production companies? Yeah.
I just looked on Google Maps and it shows you all the production companies.
Okay.
Took notes on all those. I mean, none of them were great.
Yeah. Well, you're not going to, what's the big one in the Bay Area? Lucasfilms, right? I mean, what's it called? It's still called that? What? Yeah, Industrial Light Magic. They have internships. Those internships are often, political. Big producers' children get it, but not always. So it's not in this school, but somebody else told me about somebody in their school who had gotten an internship there. So you just need to stay on top of it. You can network. They sometimes have events in the cities. That's another way. There's a directory which I will have with me. It's sadly missing from my desk, called the Real Directory. It's free. REEL. And what's listed is, so in San Francisco, what's listed is production facilities, production companies rather, post-production facilities. Who might want to get a job there in this group? What kind of person? What? Editors. So when you get a job there, the upside is you're constantly interacting with editors. The downside is rarely at this particular stage do you get invited into the client session, like directors doing posting their film or doing Foley or whatever. You're not likely to be involved and even just sitting in and be quiet. But again, I think part of that is you're happy, you're nice, you're kind. The director bumps into you in a break, and you never know what can happen. Okay, so that would be a good thing for editors. For cinematographers, where prop houses, gear rental places rather. There's the biggest one in San Francisco. What is it, Ro? Which one is it? Oh. No, that's going to say, I'll get to that in a second. So gear rental houses, a lot of the many of the people working there are from AAU. They're in the cinematography program. So are they going to handle Alexas right away, even though they do here? No, but they are around equipment all the time. People who are the camera geeks who know a lot. So that's, again, you're just trying to get in the space so you can get a job. You can either get a job or perhaps even land an internship there. Prop City, another place for production designers. So all of these places in San Francisco. And is there anyone online now? Okay, Hitu, okay. Hey, Ben. Anyone else? Nobody from other parts of the country? So other places, like if you lived in a more remote area, you could be looking at, you could go and look, every place has a TV studio. So are you making films? Not necessarily, but again, you're around equipment, you're around actual production. You could go there. There are local cable companies. In the city of San Francisco, there are meetups for just about every craft. That's another option. So that's what we will be exploring with you when you come and make an appointment with me. What I'd like you to do is at least have done some of this work to begin with, and then so we can just go from there. All right?
So let's look at everybody in the room. Who actually is looking for a summer internship or something this semester? Not who's currently looking, but who wants one. Okay, so let's go around the room and say, and I am horrible at names and I'm brain dead as well, but what would you do to start looking for what you want?
We'll start looking at the links that the website links were given to us today.
Okay,
Look
what
around,
else?
and also make sure it's the area.
What else?
Uh,
Okay, you need to make a list of all your strengths. You need to have a good resume. You need to think of how you are going to convince me. So the resume gets you in the door, right? But then 10, 15 people get in the door. You need to start thinking, how are you going to get me to hire you? Okay? So first you need a list of your strengths. Secondly, you need to start thinking about what's your story.
What does she mean by that? What's your story?
How are you going to sell yourself as what's your story? Okay? How are you going to make me connect with you? Because once you get in the room, once I've looked at 15 resumes and said, I'm going to interview these people, you're all the same. So the first thing I'm going to do is, the minute somebody walks through a door, I've basically decided if I'm going to hire them or not, without them opening their mouth. And that is true in every country in the world. They have done studies hundreds of thousands of times that you decide within 5 to 18 seconds whether or not you like somebody. So what do you think will make me make those decisions? Presentable is in a way. So yes, how you're dressed.
Did you mean more than that?
well, go
That's
for
one,
5
but-
seconds when you walk in the door.
Okay, it's how you're dressed. It's your posture. Do you come in like this? Okay? Or do you come in self-possessed? Do you come in looking nervous? So I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm going to have to take care of this person in some way? Or do you come in sort of very grounded in yourself? Which doesn't mean cocky. There's a difference between being arrogant and grounded, self-possessed, okay? Do you in some way look like you're a part of my tribe? Because you're by working with me, you're going to become a part of my tribe. So like, I like personally, Jana, likes people who are a little bit pushy, a little bit, from the minute I saw Leah, I wanted to hire Leah. Because Leah's a little bit offbeat. From, you know, there, and that's what I respond to. Literally, that's what I respond to. Now, on Duke's side, Duke gives off warmth. There is something that Duke gives off that's like very warm. I'm going to react to that very well. Both Ro and, I am having such a blank, the girl who's behind Ro.
Unique.
Unique, give off Don't screw with me, and I know what I'm doing, okay? I'm going to react to that because that's what I want. So you have to think about very much, I'm going to get you that quickly. Now, it doesn't mean I'm going to make an ultimate decision, because I'm going to be a fool if I were to make an ultimate decision based on that. But from the minute I get this hit off you, what I'm going to do is everything you say to me, I'm going to judge through that. So if I think I don't like you, if I think you're nervous, if I think you're arrogant, if I think whatever those things I think, then whatever comes out of your mouth, I'm going to hear it through that lens. So believe it or not, how you walk in the door, what you're wearing, if I'm seeing all your tats and I'm somebody who doesn't like tats, if all these things, so if you were going for an interview in Hollywood and you were to show up in a suit and tie for a gaffer interview or for any crew interview, I immediately wouldn't hire you. So when you say presentable, it's an interesting question, because if you're coming for a DP or AD thing without your hat, you are presentable. You are dressed exactly right for that interview. If you were going for a development job, you should look like him. So costume, you've got to think about the interview you're going to, and what you're wearing has to do with the job you're going to interview for. And your goal is to always make me think you have that job already. That this interview is almost a waste of time because you have the job. And you have to walk in the room like that. You have to, what they call, own the room. So a big part of that is having a lot of confidence. And a big part of it is being, you can't, and this sounds dumb, but I can share with you, today I had a 3-hour meeting with Kobe Bryant. And I went to this meeting because Kobe had sent me an idea for a movie and wanted my opinion and wanted to know maybe I would be working with him on it or not. And I read the idea and I spent a lot of time thinking about it, and I thought, this is not a movie. And it can't be done the way he wants to do it. And I spoke to Randy and got input, and I spoke to somebody else I respect and got input. And the whole way there, I'm thinking, this is a 3-hour meeting on his schedule. He's going to throw me out in half an hour, and I'm going to be able to get on an earlier plane. And the whole way there, I'm like, oh, I don't know. But when I walked in that door, you would never, ever know that. And I'm, driving with them, and I'm like, oh, your office is so cool, because it is. And do you have dogs and kids in here? Because you should. And he would never have known that I was convinced he was going to throw me out the door. And because I was giving off that, when I was able to say to him, well, this isn't going to work this way, and this isn't going to work this way, but what if we did this? It ended up being a 3-hour meeting that I'm now going to be a part of this movie. But if I'd gone in the door, oh my God, I'm with Kobe Bryant. And oh, look at him. And I can't say no to him, and I can't express all my feelings. So the more, but I was nervous. Trust me, ask Randy. When I was talking to Randy last night, I'm going, this guy's going to throw me out. This guy, I'm going to have to tell this guy no, because I don't know. And he's like, so it's not that you don't get nervous and doubt yourself and wonder if you have the qualifications for the job. But when you're in that room, boy, do you have to act like you already have it. And we're just talking about something we're doing. And we're equals. Because that's one of the ways you get the job.
I was just going to add that. So one thing that I always pick up when somebody comes in the room and I'm in the hiring position is they're looking like they know that they have something to bring to the table. Meaning that I would be in much better shape by hiring them than hiring somebody else. It's not being arrogant. They just have this feel. All of you have mentioned some of these things. I know that I don't take no for an answer. So knowing that, really believing that, is that you're projecting this. And I can tell, the person hiring, being very intuitive, that these people actually think that they're going to benefit, that I'm going to benefit from hiring that person. And that is a great, and that's basically also what Jana is saying, that she may have thought that Jacoby was going to kick her out, but she also knew that she had something to offer him, whether he kicked her out or not. So it's a little bit different sometimes. You don't think you can do this when you're feeling like you're over here, you're just starting, trying to get a job, and somebody's over here. But the truth is that it's very true. As somebody who has had a string of horrible assistants because I didn't listen to my gut feeling, I realized when I started to listen, like, they made my life so much easier.
Okay, Adam has amazing energy. He's
Vincent.
like the Vincent. He's like the ever-ready rabbit, okay? He's like, he never stops. But it's not nervous energy, but he has like so much energy that would make me want to hire him if I was looking for that. And that's why I'm saying you all have to think about what your story is, what you can sell, and what I'm going to pick up off you, because I am going to pick that up. I am going to make those superficial judgments. Morgan is thoughtful. So if you're looking for somebody to do coverage, you want somebody who's thoughtful because you're relying on them. You're not going to read the script unless they tell you to. So think about these things about yourself. Ask your friends, what is it about me? Why am I your friend besides I'm fun or whatever? If you were to describe me in 6 or 8 words, what are those words? And then if they resonate with you, if they sound right to you, you have to start owning them and figure out how to sell them without saying, I am that thing. You have to figure out, and that's your story, how to show me that.
So the one kind of thing that can sometimes happen is some of these jobs actually, you don't actually go in to meet somebody, you're Skyping, okay? And that's a whole different thing, but again, because they're not seeing you really, they're seeing sort of this image that doesn't, you may not even like how you look on a screen, but you still have to do the same thing. You still have to project this, feeling like that of confidence in whatever it is that you're good at, because they will pick up on it, but it's a lot harder for you in that respect, because they're not seeing all of you. They're just seeing this. There may be some audio issues, and it becomes very difficult. Let me just turn to, in the few remaining minutes, so I am having a resume workshop on Wednesday, so if you have your resume, you should bring it so we can start to troubleshoot it. But so many of these places will, almost everyone, will require in some way to upload a resume. So you really have to get that together. Some places also, not all, but they may require a cover letter, which is the thing that you send along with the resume, and which is basically a short little, couple of paragraphs, but again, you need to figure out how can I stand out by describing myself in a way that's not necessarily on the resume. You don't want to be checklisting off everything, so I can give you examples of that. So that's your package that they're going to be dealing with. And oftentimes, they do it one at a time. First, they may, if it's a big company website, they may get rid of the people. They're looking at your resume, and they may get rid of the people that they're not interested for whatever reason, and then they'll ask you to have some sort of interview, either by Skyping or one-on-one. So if you have won a summer internship, what's happening now is this is the time to really get this moving. Because there were and, you know, end of December even, you know, the big companies may have been stuck closing off things, but now the whole spate of other companies are starting. A24, an amazing film and studio, a mini major almost at this point, like not quite a studio, but they now produce and distribute their own products. They're about to open in April. So April is a month that is going to be very quickly needing you to get in motion for a lot of these companies. And they will still go through June. There are a lot of smaller production companies that will do that. And here's another thing that you can do. If you can identify companies that you would really like to work in, you can be telling them what you'd like to be doing. In other words, saying they're not even thinking of an internship. And maybe if you're able to forego getting paid instead of maybe a course credit, then you can say, look, I'm not asking for money. This is who I am. Just meet with me. Here's my resume. And they may suddenly decide, you know what, why not? I'm not going to get in any trouble because of this internship. It's a legitimate thing. So being entrepreneurial in that way is also something to practice at the very least. Because a lot of this is, you start doing this, it's like scary as hell. And then the more you do it, it's like actors auditioning. Some people say they never used to it. Other people like, oh, well, I did it. Okay, what's next? You want to have coffee? Yeah, Morgan.
Did you say you could contact production companies, or?
Yeah, you can cold call production companies. I have a list of all the production companies in Los Angeles, actually in the United States. But yeah, I mean, so what's the advantage of cold calling? The fact that you're doing something as opposed to nothing. You don't know anyone there. It's always much more difficult, but I think it's always worth a shot. It's one in a 1,000 maybe, but being nice to the person on the phone, that they're the gatekeepers. You're nice to them. They can you call them every week. You say, can I call every week? And you're developing a rapport. They may tell you know what, a job is opening up. That's the thing you have to learn also in this business. The people who answer the phone are going to be the people who are going to be your colleagues at some point. Whether it's on set, somebody's in an office PA. Someday they're going to be a coordinator if you want to be in an office situation, or they may be higher than that, and you've developed this connection. So yeah, Morgan, you can call those companies. People have gotten jobs by cold calling talent agencies, smaller ones in Los Angeles. And that's for sure. I mean, here's the thing. You're not doing one thing. You're trying to do a bunch of things. So set aside the time to do that. First, get your resume in order, I think. And then list what Janice said. Who are you? What's the story you're going to tell? And then we can start figuring out where you should apply. Unique.
Is there a way that, say you have a paid internship, is there a way that you can also get college credit?
Yes, paid and credit. Here's the answer. That's about the conversation between you and the person. Yes, you can get credit definitely for an internship. Most internships that give you credit, consider that your payment. If you can negotiate both, you're pretty good. Because that's what most of them think if they give you credit. But you can always ask for money.
Are you saying that you were the reverse? You're getting paid, but you'd also like to get a course credit?
Yes.
Okay, so I think it's the same conversation with them. Say, look,
that's easier. They don't care that way. If they're already paying you, that's easier. Now at AAU, though, if we're giving you credit, we consider that a course.
Yeah, I know. You still have to pay.
Yeah, and you have to. I actually supervise all these internships. You have to write weekly things and.
Okay.
But that's not. It's drudgery, right? It's not a.
What do you mean drudgery?
It's paperwork stuff, is it?
Yeah, you have to talk to me every week. What have you done?
As opposed to like spending hours on it.
Yeah.
Any questions from abroad or anywhere? All right.
So this is on you guys, okay? In the sense that we could plug you into 40 internships, but to get it, you have to be able to sell yourself. Because for every internship, there's 100 people. So how do you get to be the one out of 100? How do you get to win? And that's a game. And it actually is sort of kind of a fun game if you start getting into it, because it's like psyching people out and playing with them, right? Who am I going to be today that's going to make that person that I want to hire me want to hire?
And remember, they all were in the same position as you at one point. Every single one of them. Sure, there are people who know people, and maybe that gets them their first job, but if they're not cutting it, that's the last job they're getting. Maybe this many people, they have such powerful connections, they keep failing upwards, and they're terrible kind of workers, but they manage. But for the most part, that's not true. So all of them started in a similar position, and that's the other thing you'll start to do is when you know you're interviewing, you're going to do the research about the company, about the person, so that you have, again, you're meeting people and throwing in something like, who said Fruitvale Station, like, I just love that movie, or having any kind of questions, how did that come about? I know how that came about, but what made you feel like this was it? Something that says, this guy has looked at our company and feels like he is a right fit for us, is a great thing to do, as opposed to, oh, I don't know what you do. Now, it's different if trying to get a job in a gear rental house or prop house. That's more like, are you a good worker? Are you willing to, be on time? Do you have any references? But these other, kind of jobs, sometimes it does require you to be a little bit more knowledgeable about the company. All right. So.
Do people have questions?
Yeah. Any questions? Yes.
Do you think that it's a good idea to have, I spoke to you about this before, but an internship while in school?
So, here's the thing about that. I always think that if you can be in any kind of working situation and at the same time be able to take your schoolwork seriously, in other words, not just suddenly like not do it and then finding you're failing because you're not putting in the work, because suddenly you have to put in the work. And I did that in my life, and that was like a bad feeling. But when I figured out how to do both, it was really great. So yeah, I would say that if you can, I wouldn't take on a 40-hour-a-week job or as an internship, but many of them aren't set up like that. So I would absolutely do that unique. Because again, it's just getting you
building your resume.
Yeah. Getting you more experience, and what does it show me? It shows me as a possible employer, wow, she's able to balance a full load of work and a part-time job or internship. Anyone else? All righty. Great, thanks for staying so long, and I'll see you, you can just make an appointment not tonight, at the front office. They keep my calendar, so whenever they know my block of time that I'm available. And even if that doesn't work, we can figure out something usually.
And those of you who want to do script supervision and coverage need to start practicing. Lots and lots of coverage and script supervision. Tons of it.
Okay, take care. Thanks for being online.